we got some recruiting updates
Mhm.
for the 2026 recruiting class. And it looks like we're trying to get more quarterbacks.
Mhm.
Keisean Henderson, who's a 5-star commit to Houston, he's pretty good from what I'm seeing, but we don't have a quarterback commit so far. We got 2 commits for the whole 2026 recruiting class, but
Mhm.
it's only February. It's not like it's November or anything. But in his junior season, he had 2,689 passing yards, 25 passing touchdowns, 7 rushing touchdowns, and he showed exciting playmaking skills from and out of the pocket with his ability to improvise. And here are some plays from him right here and now. There he is, back to pass. Long bomb, boom.
It's
All right,
good.
there we go. And there's a few more plays for right now. Oh, he's just running. He's just running.
You
He's
do like to see the dual threat ability. I mean, yeah, a true quarterback, for some football purists, they don't like quarterbacks that run. They like pocket passers more. But I mean, in this day and age, you really almost have to be, somewhat of a runner because of how, especially if you're going to be in the NFL, if you're going to be an NFL quarterback, with how fast the NFL defensive lines are and defensive ends. I mean, how much faster they are now versus what they used to be. I mean, you had some that were really fast back in the past, but it just seems like as a whole, you have to be able to escape pressure more so now than ever before. So you have to have that dual threat ability. But I mean, he looks really good. I mean, I will say that. I mean, it's as cliche as it comes, but it's very difficult to be able to, decipher from high school film how good a quarterback actually is. Because, and even for like college basketball players when they're in high school, because there's been a ton of players that have put up a ton of points in high school. And this was more often the case prior to, a lot of players going to the Montverdes in basketball and the IMG Academy, like, those type of, I guess you would say prep high school, places where they help you prepare for college. But if you didn't go to places like that, then you didn't play really good competition on your high school team. So if you could score like 30 points a game in high school and just be a bucket getter, but then go to college basketball and barely score, barely make an impact. And that can happen in college football too. If you played on a high school football team that did not have great competition and you just put up gaudy stats and people think you're insanely good. And then you go to college and then all the flaws that particular player has that you really couldn't see from his high school film, it shows itself. So
hilarious.
it is really tough when looking at high school tape. I don't rarely do it. I know that's probably like for some people that's a sin, like if you're a football, fan, college football fan, and you don't watch high school tape. I watch it every now and then. I do watch a little bit of it, especially if I'm interested in the player, particularly for like Alabama or Indiana. But I don't really watch a lot of high school tape because you can, but you also can't on a large basis really determine how good a player is from high school film unless he's playing on, one of those circuits where, there's great teams that he's playing, great high school competition, and he's going up against the best competition. If he is, then that player usually ends up, you could say, yeah, this guy's going to be really good. And most of the time they pan out, but it's going to be interesting. I think, obviously that with that being 2026, I mean, it's always good to look at the future, but that's not, definitely a priority yet, for Alabama. I mean, it is if you're, again, looking toward the future, and Kalen DeBoer has to do that. But 2025 is more important. I mean, we got to, get back on track as a team, get the incoming freshmen in, see how they, hopefully some of them develop and get ingrained in the program and they can improve, make the playoffs, didn't just do better than they did this past season. But you definitely have to start looking at 2026 recruiting. But I do agree with you. It's not a big deal that Alabama only has 2 commits because this day and age, players decommit all the time too. You could get an early commit, and then in the 2026 class, and then by the end of the of the cycle. Like, oh, right before signing day, he decommits from Bama and goes to Texas. That can happen too. So it matters, but I think it's more important with recruiting when it gets closer to signing day and stuff like that, because like that, then for sure like what you're actually going to get. But Alabama used to never have like decommits and stuff. Like they used, if you committed, you stayed. But now, I mean, we saw Caleb Downs transfer to Ohio State. Anything's possible these days.
Oh yeah. Well, and I want to go back to this one highlight for a little bit, and this is what I'm seeing. It's like, boom, all the pressure, boom, miss. Oh, he's just running. He's running all over. There we go.
Yeah. That gives you Caleb Williams vibes. I mean, when at USC, where he just is able to just continue to escape pressure and just when the play breaks down, he doesn't like panic. And that's a good attribute to have. But once you get in the NFL, though, you do have to kind of be able to perform at a high level in a more sanitized environment of like drop back, just throw. Like you can just drop back, take a couple steps, and throw the ball. If you can do that, you're good to go. But if you're a quarterback that thrives on plays breaking down and crazy shenanigans, that's not going to really bode well for the NFL, but it does not really harm you in college football though. So that definitely is a good sign for him for his ability to be able to escape SEC pressure if he can make all those moves. But definitely interesting to see if as he develops and if he does go to Alabama and perform well in the future, or whether that can translate to the NFL or not.
Yeah, I mean, like Caleb Williams comparisons, that's huge right there. Because like I want him. Like if things aren't working out, I'm just like get him to our roster.
Yeah, I mean it could be like if, and I don't want to say this because again he hasn't even played, but if Keelan Russell doesn't work out, then Henderson could be that guy to save DeBoer if things are not going well. Kind of like how Lagway was Napier's last chance, and I said that at the beginning of this past season, and nobody remembers it. But I was like, literally the only way Billy Napier's job, if he has any chance of not getting fired and saving his job, is if DJ Lagway comes in and plays well and they win enough games and that tough schedule. And that's what happened. I mean, literally, if Graham Mertz doesn't go down and he's the starter the whole season, Napier's gone. If DJ Lagway stays hurt after that Georgia game, if he stays hurt and never comes back, he's fired. But because Lagway came back in the lineup and they won 7 games, however many games they won, 8 games, it saved his job. And that, I mean, it sucks that a lot of times luck or just striking gold on one guy is enough to do that. But that's literally what happened in that case. And I hope that doesn't happen to Kalen DeBoer, because I don't want him getting on thin ice where he's gonna, like, one player can save his job or not. But you never know. Could be the case if things don't go right. But I think Alabama will be fine. I'm not super confident that they're gonna like be a top 5 team next year, but I think they can be better than this past season. We'll see.
Oh yeah, like, we'll be a lot better than we were last season.